the way I see it, this is not a recipe for government efficiency. This is a recipe for corruption by the DOGE boys and this government.
Just remember, it is the Department of Government Evil.
I'm mad that they're cutting government waste. Do you think you might be on the wrong team? Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend. This is where we call out to lies, hypocrisy, and corruption and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters because truth conquers. But here's the truth. You're not going to conquer anything unless you're strong. Luckily, here to help us get stronger is Ancestral Supplements, grass-fed beef liver. I use it every day, multiple times a day actually, because weakness, poor focus, and low energy are my enemies. I like to feel strong, alert, and ready to go. I think it's time to get healthy again with Ancestral Supplements, grass-fed beef liver. Get it at ancestralsupplements.com/JPReacts. And for 15% off, use discount code JPReacts. Oh, let's take a look here. Our boy Elon, actually our boy Trump, brought in his boy Elon running DOGE. You know what he's doing. He is finding ludicrous spending and, dare I say, some corruption. But that's a different story. We're just going to focus on the ludicrous spending. Actually, we're going to focus on the even more ludicrous protests at Elon finding and cutting the ridiculous spending. I mean, we're talking about just last week alone, FEMA sends $60 million to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegals, which broke the law. Current law is we don't have illegals here. We actually deport them. We don't welcome them here and put them up, let alone put them up in luxury hotels. Maybe if FEMA would have spent that money at Trump hotels in New York City, it'd be okay. And we're talking $40 million to fund coronavirus bat research at the Wuhan lab in China. Yep, yeah, I discovered that. Millions of dollars all over the place just being wasted. Not to mention all the $100,000, $30,000, $250,000, which in the scheme of the U.S. government, it seems like those are nothing, but they add up so much. And here's the crazy part. Yes, that was happening. That's crazy. Here's the insane part. Democrats are protesting this crackdown on government spending. Why are they doing that? Well, I got some opinions and I don't think it's an honest protest. But first, let's take a look at the protest.
As I turn down the audio, sorry about that. Another live event as we are taking a look out of Washington, D.C. as Democrats are protesting the Department of Government Efficiency.
Yeah, Democrats protesting the Department of Government Efficiency. Now, you can tell this is not a mass event. There's, I think she even said dozens of Democrats out protesting. So this isn't something for the average person who has even 10% access to their common sense. It's not going to get them out on the streets. Like, yeah, you know, let's go burn down some buildings to create racial equity. That'll get them out on the streets. This is even more insane than that. So we're getting dozens of apparent citizens, but probably more Democrat politicians than actually citizens protesting this. Let's have a little look-ski at what some of these scholars had to say.
What we're witnessing here is the biggest heist in American history.
The biggest heist in American history. You would think that would involve stealing money from citizens and maybe spending it wastefully and dishonestly. You'd think that'd be a heist. But what DOGE is doing is finding waste and essentially long-term saving Americans money. It's a really weird heist.
Elon Musk coming into the Department of Treasury and stealing Social Security numbers, personal data.
It's funny. I don't know if he's doing that, having access to your personal data, Social Security numbers. But here's a guy in the government criticizing essentially your personal information being spied on. Okay, government, do you know about the Patriot Act? All right, so sit down.
Are you going to let this stand? This is all about taking over the government in order to advance the interests of Elon Musk and the billionaires at the expense of everybody else in America.
At the expense of everyone else in America. That's funny. So it's literally cutting expense of everyone else in America. Elon's doing it at his own expense. Does he have some kind of hidden motive to advance his companies? He could. Like, I'm not like closed-minded to that. He could. Yet on the surface and several layers deep under the surface, it is irrefutable. He is cutting expenses for Americans. Like, Americans are the ones that pay all this tax money, and all this tax money is being used on expensive BS. He is literally cutting that. So what we have here is a pattern that you and I may have grown to recognize. I call it the 1984 pattern, where, call it the bad guys, are telling you that the good guys are doing the exact thing that the bad guys are doing. This is about a government takeover. And what government takeover, tyranny, authoritarianism, fascism, have they ever looked to reduce the power of the government? I would dare say it's an infusion of nutrients into the government to minimize the government. It's kind of like, we're going to figure out how to shrink this tumor called government-itis. And mostly what we saw with these Democrat politicians leading these huge dozens of people protests, which cameras are on the politicians. Protesters are there like, yeah, we'll cheer when you say something, have a pause, we know what to do. Cameras are on us, so we create the illusion of a big protest. The Democrat politicians basically did two things. They lied, and they got emotionally hysterical. And leave it to none other than emotional hysteria scholars like Maxine Waters and Pocahontas. Let's take a look.
This is our country, and we're not going to let Elon Musk have it. He can't have it.
So she, like, cool, you're saying words loud. What are you really saying? What she's implying is that Elon is trying to take over our country. In reality, maybe what's happening is our country has been taken over. Hello, Deep State. Please like and subscribe. And Elon is there to sever that.
So, Elon, come here and face us. Bring your ass on over here.
For every American who doesn't want some weird Elon Musk suck up searching through your personal private data, this is your fight. Your fight, my fight, our fight, and we will win this fight. Are you ready to say no to Elon Musk?
But we just frame him as the enemy. 1984, we need to accuse him of what we've done. We'll get back to the video in just a second, but first, now that Fauci has been pardoned, Trump's HHS team is going to unearth what most of us already knew about the pandemic. However, unfortunately, this effort won't help the tens of millions of people who have never felt the same after getting the virus or mRNA shots. Pfizer has been forced to release a detailed list of the side effects of their shots. And sadly, some of those side effects like myocarditis and blood clots creep up on people without warning. A less severe but very common concern is long COVID. I know people with it. A condition that leaves people with brain fog, chronic fatigue, and shortness of breath, sometimes for months or years. I consider those things bad. But here's the good news. The wellness company makes it easy for you with their new long COVID syndrome support. With it, you get 4 doctor-formulated nutraceuticals designed to address the root cause. Ultimate Spike Detox, Mind Lift, Elevated Energy, and Healthy Heart. Dr. Peter McCullough recommends a durable recovery through holistic health, and long COVID syndrome support is an excellent solution. Right now, you can save $40 on the bundle, plus get an additional $34 off, plus free shipping. For that amazing deal, go to twc.health/jpreacts. Take action today for a healthier tomorrow. Once again, that's twc.health/jpreacts. Now back to the video. So here's the question. Why are these Democrat politicians so against government waste spending being cut and exposed? I think there's 2 obvious answers. One of 2, probably both. Here they are. They're in on it. Them, their backers, people that they owe favors to, people potentially that have blackmail on them, the politicians, they are benefiting from the waste. They have these contracts for their constituents, backdoor deals, maybe some directly from them. So you might start to think the ones that are protesting the cutting of government waste maybe that waste is going to them and people that control them. That's option number one. Option number two is they're very afraid of the corruption being exposed. It's one thing like $200 million to like gay Sesame Street in Iraq. What the hell's the deal? Meanwhile, like he's got a buddy with a production company that's giving him a 30% kickback. But then there's breaking a law. There's people who, option one, I'm going to have less money if we save Americans money. And then there's like, I could get in trouble with the law. Like there is some, legal phobic things that are in place facilitating these contracts and deals. And I don't want to get caught. So what do? If someone's investigating a crime, the person that committed the crime is most against the investigation. So I have not seen one intelligent argument against DOGE. It's always been either lies or emotional hysteria from the Democrat politicians and people who are kind of like brainwashed by them. So case in point, let's take a look at what leftist TikToker Harry Sisson has to say about why DOGE is bad.
We have some major news. One of Elon
It's actually not major news.
Musk's 19-year-old staffers at his DOGE team was fired from a previous internship for sharing company secrets.
That's probably why he was hired at DOGE. What DOGE is doing is sharing government secrets. And in the sharing process, they're being exposed. They're no longer secrets. All the money, this much money, and where's that going? What's the fraud behind it? Exposing the secrets is the job here. He actually sounds like a perfect person for the job. Yet the leftists want to say, that's why DOGE is invalid. This guy on DOGE shares secrets. Yeah, the more the merrier. And before we get to what common sense Americans, which is most of us, by the way, are thinking about the Democrats protesting the cutting of government waste, massive waste, let's take a little look-ski at some of what the waste is that DOGE has, exposed.
This is some of the waste that Elon Musk and his team have found. Why isn't the mainstream media reporting on this?
Rhetorical question, but some of the waste. $1.5 million to promote diversity in Serbia's workplace. That's American interest, right? It's not even in the interest of Serbia. $25 million to green transportation in Eastern Europe. Spent $164 million to support radical organizations. Newsflash. $122 million to groups aligned to foreign terrorist organizations. $122 million? Shouldn't we have been giving more to terrorist organizations? Also, hot off the press today, it was discovered an Al-Qaeda terrorist member had U.S. aid fund his whole college education in Colorado. It made a smarter terrorist. Probably more trans terrorists, too. $2 million for a new Sesame Street TV show in Iraq. $4.5 million to combat misinformation in Kazakhstan. $7.9 million to teach Sri Lankan journalists to avoid binary gendered language. Almost $8 million for that. $1.5 million to rebuild Cuban media ecosystem. The state-sponsored propaganda coming at you from the deep state U.S. government. $1.5 million to promote DEI in Serbia's workplace. $8.3 million for DEI education in Nepal. You gotta get the Dalai Lama on board with being a little bit more non-binary. $1 million to help disabled people in Kazakhstan to become climate leaders. You don't want to help them be more abled? Okay. Support electric vehicles in Vietnam, transgender clinic in India. No dollar amounts assigned to those. That's just some of the ways. Like, can you imagine the protesters? Like, we don't want to cut any of that. Here's how insane it is. Let's just say you come home and your spouse, she's sitting there saying, honey, good news. I just went through all our credit card statements, bank statements. I found we were wasting a lot of money. We had all these subscriptions we don't even use anymore. We forgot about them. All I did was cut those. How much did you save us? It's going to be like $300 a month. How dare you cut those subscriptions? How dare you save us $300 a month? You are bad. You're just trying to take over our family by saving us money. This is selfish. That would be insane. This is just more insane. Now, let's freshen things up with some common sense.
I think that Democrats have lost their minds. Out of all of the things that you can protest about, these people are in the streets protesting because Elon Musk is cutting wasteful government spending. I think the only reason that these people are protesting so hard against Elon Musk is because they're afraid that they are next on the list. If you think about everything this man has...
I think that's right. Shout out to TikTok for having some common sense on the platform. If there's any authentic protesters on the street, and I'm guessing there's some, not all, but if there's some, here's the only reason why I could imagine they would be motivated to authentically protest. They're a federal worker, and let's just say their department is looked at as unnecessary. Maybe their department's corrupt, like USAID. How you guys doing? But maybe that individual is not corrupt and they had nothing to do with the corruption. What they're concerned about is their job. I'm going to lose my job. I feel for those people. And if I was one of them, I might not see the bigger picture, or if I did, I might not care about the bigger picture of America as much as I do my own self-interest, my ability to earn a paycheck, feed my family, get my dog spayed or neutered. So I could imagine they're in the streets. Whereas there's no question about it, as wasteful government spending is cut, some people are going to feel pain. Some good people will feel pain. Let's just say there's 20,000 jobs in a week that need to be cut. Because this Department of Education, for example, it's like, well, they're not improving education. They're actually dampening it, and it's strengthening the federal government, taking power away from the state and determining what a child's education should be. Thus, we're going to have drag queens read to your children to teach them about math. So those people rightfully need to be fired. They're unfortunate collateral damage. They will have pain. They will have stress in their life. That's a reality. And I feel for those people, yet I just want to acknowledge, yeah, there will be individuals unfortunately feeling pain and stress about this. Yet Elon's not there to make specific individuals happy and keep their lives comfortable. He's there for the whole picture of America, not only now, but into the future. Realize, yeah, your job's cut and hopefully you find a new one in some time and it's going to be okay, you know. But yeah, it's stressful now. Yet America on the whole will be way better off, way less national deficit, way less printing money, way less inflation. Your dollars will be more valuable and you will have more of them in your pocket because taxes will likely be able to come down. Trump is talking about eliminating the income tax, for goodness sakes. So people on the whole will be benefiting from this. Some individuals will feel pain. Just want to acknowledge that. And it's okay. So with that said, my beautiful freedom-loving friend, that's a little look at the insanity going on of Democrats and the politicians and whoever the dozens of people they get out to their protests for the photo ops, their insanity of protesting DOGE cutting incredibly wasteful government spending. Let me know what you think about it. I think it's hilarious. And I'll look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments and seeing you on our next video. But until then, stay free.